While any wrestler who makes Division 1 and takes all its shots on their chest and chin is extraordinarily tough, let me try, amid all these heroic acts, to highlight 10 outstanding performers in November 2023. I'm assessing these men relative to where they are on the rankings chart, what they've previously done, how they compare to similarly ranked wrestlers, and their injury situation. So in 10th place, I'll highlight Asanoyama, who hobbled in midway to beat Takakeisho in his very first act, and with the only move he could practically do. He then pushed the champion all the way, and after fully settling down, outgrappled two men renowned for their power. Given the woeful state of his calf, I'd rank him yet higher had he avoided defeat to Hoshoryu in a highly predictable manner. I'd also have ranked him up had he fought a couple more days. His injury was similar to that of Nishikigi, who fought the full 15 in September. Full marks for Asa's sumo sanity though. I mooted giving 10th to Tomokaze, who conquered all kinds of horrors this time, but the adversity Asa currently faces gives him those extra points. In 9th, I'll go with Imamoto, who won more bouts than ever before at a top division rank. He was injured as recently as July, but has got that left knee working again to post 24 wins from his past 30 fights. For a man sometimes mocked by ex-stablemates for fighting on the retreat, he went right against type with proper front foot sumo, as if he had that point to prove. And most unlike earlier this year, he was not blasted out even once. He has mastered the art of the arms outstretched charge, and deserves his special prize. Just above him in 8th, I'll put Tamawashi, who turned 39 on day 5. After a nightmare September, which brought more reversals than ever before, we feared Mother Time had caught up with this double top-flight champion. Yet despite obvious bicep concerns, Washi found 9 ways to win, mostly relying on left-angled forehead-first charge and jabbing right hand to the throat. At times he seemed to be skipping around like his children might on a bright summer's day, even swirling like a samba dancer in his minute-long match with Ryuden. Now were Ryuden 39, I'd put him here instead. In 7th place, perhaps controversially, is Takakeisho. What? You cry. After a Yokozuna bid going flatter than soda poured 3 days ago? Well, of course it was hardly his best showing, but given the neck issues which ruined his prep, the acute pressure of aiming for the very top, and the negative press he'd received for weeks, he did way better than I thought. As 4 of his 5 prior top-rank bids had ended in pullouts, it was pleasing to see him last the distance, and with more wins than in those 4 bids combined. His last 2 matches we can excuse. Holding back was likely essential to hit the new year in better shape. To Atami Fuji, I'll assign 6th place. His post-September attitude was as fine as could be. He bounced back from playoff heartbreak by replicating his autumn score. I would have ranked him higher had he not also replicated key match defeats. That's 5 title bouts in a row he's blown. I was hoping to see some mental growth on that particular front. And I'll add that the loss of big high school bouts mid-pandemic hardly helps him in this regard. His sumo movement was mostly second to none, especially when skipping leftwards. That felling of Ryuden was something else. As his master stresses, he's still 21. And very much on an upward curve. This year's November score, the exact reverse of last year's. Koto Waka comes in 5th by virtue of beating Atami Fuji. There was little to choose between them. A first double-digit haul at Sekiwake, 5th Fighting Spirit prize, and Ozeki bid firmed up for next year represents a fine fortnight's work. But Waka loses points for the fact he should have made the step up this time. At 6-0, then 9-2, after trouncing Hoshoryu and Takakeisho, this cup was there to be won. He failed to achieve that pre-meet goal after freezing up against Kirishima, then gifting his belt to Ryuden. He doesn't yet have the mentality of a serial winner. It lags behind his physique and skill. So close, but yet so far. 4th, I will go for Tsuga, who was barely expected to flourish on a top-flight debut at 30, and having never even made serious waves in the 2nd division. He kept his vow to go head first each time, to the point of needing a band-aid, then sending that band-aid flying in future collisions. And while 3 other top-flight newbies lost their ranks by day 12, Cuda grafted his way to 9-6, and was the only newbie to survive. So well has he fought, you wonder why he's never got up here before, said NHK pundit Mainomi. Arguably he would have done had he not been concussed by Takagenji. In 3rd, I will go for Tsuga stablemate Uda, whose 2nd week was sensational even by his high standards. Having gone 0-5 in Kyushu for the 2nd year running, and totally failed to meet his goal of resisting sumo's top men this time, I feared he was destined for double-digit losing score gloom. And yet he won 8 of his final 10, with impeccable Uda timing, in signature Uda style. Those lightning arm grabs and shimmies at the rope performed to perfection. That beautifully salvaged winning score takes him into Sanyaku berths for the very first time, and in his 30th salaried tournament. Guaranteed sumo elder rights all round then, and bonus points here for history making. In 2nd, I'd like to put Tsurugisho, whose left knee almost gave out pre-meet just after his right leg cellulitis cleared up. Yet he bravely relied on left knee defense when he could have shied away, and even tried lift-outs on Hokuseiho and Mitakeumi, the one move they weren't expecting from him. He lost smartly on 3 occasions when promptly conceding a winning grip, the best way through a full 15, as only a tested veteran can judge. 9 wins on 1 working leg which supported the heaviest top-flight frame. Outstanding, wouldn't you say? Then, top of my chart, and the tournament one, is Ozeki Kirishima. Could we ask any more of a man injured in July and frozen up with nerves in September when forced to defend his new rank with scarce enough practice done? This time Kirishima hardly left the practice ring, and his sterling form there translated to the matchday dohyo. A career-best 13 wins, 0 defeats to fellow top-rankers, and a ruthless dispatch of Atami Fuji with ever so much to lose must earn him the highest praise, and a deserved shot at Yokozuna.